Kyle Brandt, Nate Burleson, myself, Kay Adams. How are we feeling, guys?
Feeling great.
We feel so good, so excited. And Kay, you know, we have operators standing by. If anyone would like to send us a single reason that Justin Fields should not be drafted by either the Jets or the 49ers, we would love to hear it. We're here to welcome it, but we can't find a reason.
Maybe he'll go in the top 10. Peter Schrager certainly thinks so. He is live in Cleveland, where it is raining behind you, Schrags. We love that you're there, and you are our eyes and our ears. You have 5 quarterbacks going in the top 10 of your mock draft over at NFL.com/Schrager right now. How you feeling this morning?
Feeling pretty good about the mock draft, but also feeling pretty good about today. The NFL is really putting on an amazing experience here. It's pouring rain right now behind me. We'll see what happens, but I can tell you this. The draft prospects were kind of trickling in last night. They're on site. It feels like the NFL draft. And I know last year was a fun experience with everyone from home, but there is an event happening, and tomorrow we'll know where all the answers lie. But right now, there's so much up in the air.
Are you going to make your way to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Triggs?
Come on, Peter.
Bonnie Raitt?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I've got to pay tribute to the Led Zeppelin exhibit there. I will be there. Don't worry, Kay. I'll make my way to the museum for sure.
Well, we miss you. We know you're part of the coverage for NFL Network tomorrow and Saturday, and we are so excited to have you as part of our show this morning. Chris Collinsworth joining the show. Justin Jefferson will be here this hour. And yes, welcome everybody watching on ESPN2. We are going to hit the lead block and talk about how Schrager has Mac Jones going at 3.
Yeah, Moody Blues, Peter. What's your take?
And for more context, we bring in Mike Yam from San Francisco this morning. Mike, happy draft day to you. We've been talking about Mac Jones out of Alabama. Is he a good fit for San Francisco? Is he the guy with that 3rd overall pick following the trade by John Lynch and Shanahan to put themselves in position to get their starting quarterback of the future? What kind of things are you hearing about Mac Jones out there in the Bay Area?
It is complicated, and that might be a little bit of an understatement. Kay, I actually can't wait. As soon as we're done here, I'm going to hop into the car and drive down to Levi's Stadium here. All the first-time, long-times calling into sports talk radio, absolutely freaking out that the pick is going to be Mac Jones, because there is a sense of anxiety, and it's not necessarily a good one. They're not necessarily the biggest fans of him right now. However, when you talk to guys that have played and watched the tape, and I had an opportunity to talk to a couple of those guys, Matt Leinart being one of them, they tell a different story. And Matt seems to think that Mac Jones is a guy that can be a day 1 starter. And I think I mentioned this to you guys yesterday. He feels of all the quarterbacks in the draft, everyone that Triggs had in terms of his mock, it is Jones who has the best understanding of defenses and where blitzes are coming from compared to every other quarterback that potentially goes in the first round. Taking a step further, I actually thought he made a really good, interesting point with me. He sees some similarities in the story between Joe Burrow and Mac Jones, guys who are super talented, not to mention won a national championship, had a ton of talent around him. But he said the narrative around Burrow going 1 seemed like a no-brainer, and people are freaking out about Jones. To be fair, Matt did say that Burrow moves a little bit better than Jones does, but he thinks it's less of an issue for Kyle Shanahan. One other guy that I talked to, and I want to throw his opinion out there, 4-time Pro Bowler Jeff Garcia, who wore that San Francisco uniform. He had said both guys are more than capable of being the face of a franchise if it's Trey Lance or Mac Jones. But he feels like Mac is already a guy that they already have in Jimmy Garoppolo. Kay, at one point, his voice lowered like he was telling me a secret. He was so excited about the prospects of Trey Lance being this team's quarterback to the point where he said, look, his skill set on the field, Kyle Shanahan's mind, the options, they are limitless in this offense for him.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions about whether or not Mac Jones would be an improvement on the guy that they have there already, Jimmy Garoppolo. And then what do you do with Jimmy? If you're him, are you turning your phone off? Are you, putting everything on airplane mode today? I do not know, but I cannot wait to finally find out. Yeah, appreciate you. Let's send it back out to Schrager out in Cleveland. You have Mac Jones, my friend, mocked to the Niners. You have been steadfast and stable, and you've been consistent on this. What are your thoughts?
I'm sticking with Mac Jones to the Niners. And I think one of the things that Mike was just discussing is what is Mac Jones? I know everyone wants Trey Lance, and that includes 49ers fans and a lot of the NFL draft pundits saying Trey Lance is the bigger upside. I think that is dismissing what Mac Jones brings to the table and what Kyle Shanahan might be looking for. Mac Jones has impeccable footwork and pocket presence. And I know that doesn't get you out of bed in the morning as far as a 4.4 40 that Justin Fields has, or Trey Lance and his incredible arm. But what Mac Jones was a tennis player. He comes from a tennis family. His father was a professional tennis player who actually beat Yannick Noah in a match one time. His mother played tennis. His sister played tennis. His brother played tennis at the collegiate level. Mac Jones grew up playing tennis, meaning he was drilled in footwork drills. And you might roll your eyes and say, well, that has nothing to do with playing quarterback. Do you know who else played tennis as a youth and was told that he wasn't athletic enough, didn't have a big enough arm, and maybe was a boring pick? Quarterback named Drew Brees, who ended up having a pretty decent NFL career. I'm not comparing this guy to Drew Brees, but when you think about accuracy, footwork, and what might make sense to win games right away with a team that can win right away, Mac Jones fills that bill, maybe even better than Justin Fields and Trey Lance. Don't be shocked if it's Mac Jones. I certainly wouldn't be, and yet I don't have the inside information as of 8 a.m., and I usually do when it comes to quarterbacks at the top of the draft. I'm just saying, don't dismiss what Mac Jones can do just because he doesn't have a nice 40-yard dash number.
But he's got a slicing, single-handed backhand, Peter.
Talk about it.
Love that. We're way into that. I think if they take Mac Jones, I think it's Kyle Shanahan walking that line between confidence and hubris. And what I mean, confidence is great. If you just think, I'm Kyle Shanahan, I'm smarter than you, I know quarterbacks better than you, I got your mocks right here, pal, I'm taking this guy. Also, sometimes even when you're looking for a partner in any walk of life, you don't just look for the best looking, smartest one necessarily. You look for the match that you want. And if he feels that's the match, that's his thing. I just think there's something we need to address about Mac Jones, and it has a lot to do with his optics and his reputation.
What's that?
It's the picture. There's a picture of Mac Jones that is extremely unflattering, and we don't have it, but you know what I'm talking about. It is a shirtless picture with a cigar, and like he makes Eli Manning look like Dwayne Johnson. Like it is not a great look for a professional athlete. It's interesting because Joe Burrow, a year ago, had the coolest cigar picture ever taken. And he looked like a movie star, and he's kicked back and everything. He's smoking. #1 pick. The cigar pick for Mac Jones is not good. And I feel like many people sitting at home are basing it purely on that. Remember when Beyonce did the halftime, and she had that really unflattering face and tried to wipe it from the internet? Sometimes a picture can follow you around. I think this picture haunts Mac Jones. There's a sort of Richard Gere type story going with it, speaking of Burrow. And I just think that if that picture did not exist, the conversation would be different.
I don't know.
This picture kills him.
I think Beyonce's doing okay. I think comparing Mac Jones to Beyonce, as far as comparing them to quarterbacks,
that's not the
is a
point.
little. I know what you're saying. But yes,
no, but it's sometimes they can haunt you, and you remember that.
Yes.
You knew the picture I was talking about with Beyonce
right away.
Immediately. And this Mac Jones picture, if he had a shirt on, I think he's a lock at #3. I'm not even kidding. That picture haunts him.
Kyle,
yeah.
I wish I knew you were going this direction because I would have hit the producers. I would have said, give me one of 1,000 pictures of Kyle Brandt on the red carpet.
Not about me.
I remember one, you had all of your buttons down.
Oh.
Your chesticles out.
Hey, you wear shorts on the red carpet. Who are you talking about?
You're right.
What was that term?
Your chesticles are out.
What do you think about
Welcome to our show.
Good Lord. How you doing, ESPN? What's going on? Welcome to Good Morning Football. No, I wouldn't be surprised. Why would you be surprised? Mac Jones was an absolute baller. You don't roll out of bed and put up 4,500 yards, 41 TDs, and just 4 interceptions in a season at Alabama up against top-tier talent and not be respected as one of the best quarterbacks. Listen, I think there's the picture, there's the tennis, there's this sense that he might not be as athletic as the quarterbacks that are taking over the league right now. But look at the quarterback who just won the Super Bowl. You know, look at some of the quarterbacks that we respected over the last handful of years. Matt Ryan isn't the most athletic guy in the world, even though he played basketball and he played pitcher in high school. When you look at Matt Ryan, does he jump off the screen? And does his athletic ability make you question whether he's going to take off and scramble for 50 yards? Or do you just look at him and say, he's a pretty damn good quarterback?
He's all right.
Yeah, he was all right enough to win MVP in 2016.
Who was his coordinator that time?
Who was his coordinator?
Shanahan, the guy who should take fields. Hey, you're talking about...
And that's why I brought it up. KB, I brought it up because Kyle Shanahan,
Go
on.
If he does indeed draft Mac Jones for the 49ers.
What he did with RG3 his rookie year. We can argue this both ways.
What I'm saying is he's done it with athletic guys like RG3.
Okay.
He's done it with guys that aren't that athletic like Matt Ryan. Listen, if Matt Ryan, underneath Kyle Shanahan's system, can be the best player in all of football in 2016, you don't think that he can take Matt Jones, who's a proven guy, and be an absolute success? I feel like they can, and they're comparable. Like, Matt Ryan's 6'4", 215, 220. Mac Jones is 6'3", 215. So the same type of player in that system will be extremely successful. I have faith in Kyle Shanahan. That's the point I'm making. It's not about the quarterback. It's more about Kyle Shanahan. I still feel like Fields is the best quarterback.
Here are the questions.
I just won't be surprised.
The questions you guys are going to get and the questions that are happening. It's the moving. You don't think they could have gotten Mac at 12?
I don't think so.
We don't know.
Mac would have been gone. It was worth it. When you're going up to 3, that's the issue here. That's what's happening. Also, is Mac Jones or any of these quarterbacks in this draft class better than an improvement on Jimmy Garoppolo? Can you guys say that? That's what it comes down to that, too. But these are the kind of questions. So then you're like, what do you do with Jimmy Garoppolo? You're moving all the way up to take Mac Jones. Is Mac Jones an improvement on the guy that they have? I don't know that either. Are they an upgrade on him off the bat? We don't know any of those questions. It's a risk. So if you're taking a risk, I would think you want to take a big swing on a guy who has higher upside. Not even because Mac Jones is going to be compared to Justin Fields. He's going to be compared to Trey Lance his entire career. As you know, we're going to be doing this for the next 5 years.
Yeah,
that's going to happen. But what about the quarterbacks in his own division if he goes to the Niners? Mac Jones, I'm sorry, Russell Wilson, really athletic. Kyler Murray, really athletic. Matthew Stafford, really athletic. He can do his thing out there. So I'm talking about that own division. If you're taking a guy that's going to compete with those guys in the NFC West, I want to see it be a guy who's got the highest ceiling.
Yeah, it's the NFL draft. There's always surprises. Baker Mayfield was a surprise at number 1. Speaking of number 2, you remember when Mitch Trubisky was drafted and the Bears moved up to get him?
Yeah.
So what teams are doing, they're going grocery shopping while they're hungry. So I don't think Mac Jones would have lasted all the way to 12. I think that teams are going to look at quarterbacks in the first 10 picks and they're going to say, we might as well go and get it. And I think that's why the 49ers put themselves in position to either go Mac Jones or Justin Fields.
We'll see how it goes tonight, hours away on NFL Network, ESPN, and ABC. Welcome to Good Morning Football. Tom Pelissero joining us now. The Panthers made a move many people have been waiting for since acquiring Sam Darnold from the Jets. They traded away quarterback Teddy Bridgewater to Denver. What can you tell us about the deal and really what it means for both teams? Drake still has the Broncos taking a quarterback in Trey Lance in his latest mock draft.
Okay, Teddy Bridgewater is now a member of the Denver Broncos after the Panthers agreed yesterday to send him to Denver in exchange for a 6th-round pick in this year's draft. This was really the culmination of weeks of talks, not just between the teams, but between Bridgewater, his agent, and the Broncos. Teddy wanted to be in Denver. He reunites there with general manager George Payton and offensive coordinator Pat Shurmur, who are both with Teddy in Minnesota. Bridgewater is still just 28 years old as he now joins his 5th NFL team and is hoping to get a chance to compete. That's what Denver gets here. Another quarterback with starting experience to come in, compete with Drew Lock and any other quarterbacks that they might add to the roster. It also frees up their options with that number 9 pick, although you absolutely cannot 100% rule out the possibility that they take a QB. For Carolina,